So as far as disaster movies go that lead up to the end of the world, so far we've had a movie about earthquakes, we've had a movie about math, we've had a movie about plants, and we've had a movie about God knows what. And now we have a movie about the moon. You would think at some point they just know when to give up on these. Moonfall. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your guy in the chair here, and I am back with another review. This time I'm reviewing Moonfall, starring Patrick Wilson, Samuel Tarly from Game of Thrones, and Halle Berry. It was also directed by Roland Emmerich, which I definitely missed because I saw the trailer. I probably paid attention to this trailer once. After that, like, I kind of knew what this was going to be. I knew it was going to be pretty bad. I also got the plot wrong because I didn't know this was a disaster movie. I thought they were going to just be fighting something on the moon, like that big space urchin, I'm going to call it. It's a big space urchin of nanotech. I thought they were just going to be doing that. This is actually a disaster movie, and it's in the same realm. Granted, if you're trying to figure out why I'm so fixated on Roland Emmerich, it's because he directed Midway. I never saw Midway, but I did see the trailer, and they have an awful line in that movie, and I just really didn't need to see anything after that. It's very bad. It's one where he deems that, you know, Washington is wrong, and it's the way the line was delivered. It's just more of a Washington was wrong, and it's very overdramatic. So you kind of know what's going to go on with those movies. He also was responsible for Independence Day Regurgitate, which I know that movie's not called Regurgitate, but that's the reaction I always get when thinking about that movie and also coming across from it on TV. So it's Independence Day Regurgitate, and Roland Emmerich is responsible for this. I feel like I was tricked. If I knew he would have directed this movie, I probably would have skipped it. Moonfall. So our plot follows an astronaut played by Patrick Wilson, who, after a tragic event on one of his missions, we follow him 10 years later, where he is now broke, divorced, and he has about 80 plus eviction notices on his door, where it doesn't even matter because he's able to freely just walk in and out of his home. He's able to just do whatever he wants to his car, watch television without any intention of paying his rent at all. He has no urgency on that at all. I really wish that I could do that. I really wish that, you know, I just, you know, owed rent and then days later find out, hey, the world is ending, so you don't really have to do anything with that. White privilege. Moonfall. Meanwhile, Samuel Tarly, who's just an everyday citizen working at a burger joint, just so happens to be 1,000 times smarter than NASA. NASA's best professional is. He ends up finding this information about that same tragedy that happened years ago, and now it's affecting them 10 years later. And he finds Patrick Wilson, and now they have to stop not only what happened 10 years ago with that tragedy and that space urchin, but they have to stop the end of the world. And Halle Berry's in this movie. She also plays an astronaut. I'm not very enthused about this plot at all. It's just, it's you've seen this movie before. It's the same. I really wish they would have just kept it about them fighting whatever that thing was in space. I feel like that would have been a better movie than what I saw. But I saw this. Moonfall. All right, so as far as the good goes in this movie, the good. The good. So here's the thing. Look, I really didn't find anything enjoyable about this movie at all. Look, full discrepancy. I walked in with a negative mindset. I didn't think this movie was going to be good. So, like, my bar was already set very low for the movie. Now, granted, I kind of like to give movies a chance. You know, I'm not just going to walk in and be sour about it. Like, I love to watch movies, even bad movies. So I like to see, you know, if movies will exceed my expectations where they are when I walk in. Like, if they'll impress me a little bit or if they will lower that bar. And like I said, the bar was already subliminally low. So there wasn't really much lower they could go. Seriously, like, I really didn't have any hope for this movie at all. Like I said, if I knew Roland Emmerich was responsible for this movie, I would have skipped it. So I didn't really find anything enjoyable about the movie. But like I said, the bar was set really low, and they really didn't do anything to try to raise that. It kind of just stayed there the whole time. It didn't go any lower. It didn't go any lower from where my thoughts were. It didn't really go any higher. It just stayed the same. But there's a lot of bad in this movie to talk about. I can definitely do that. That's easy. But as far as the good goes, I laughed. I did laugh, but it wasn't for, you know, because I enjoyed what I was watching. I laughed because it was so bad. I'm just gonna move on to the bad. Moonfall. All right, so as far as the bad goes, I'm gonna start with the cast. Look, it's outside of the three main actors I named, Patrick Wilson, Samuel Tarly, and Halle Berry. Michael Pena and Donald Sutherland are also in this movie, but I'm going to talk about them a little later. I'm not going to wrap them in with the rest of this mess. I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to separate them from this category, and you'll understand why in a little bit. But I have to the cast. The cast is abysmal. And I'm not saying the three, like Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, and Samuel Tarly did that good of a job either, because I got to be honest, Patrick Wilson was honestly just phoning this in. I don't understand why he had to be so loud or so intense about every single thing he was doing in this movie, but he was, and he delivered his lines over dramatically, just like that same line in Midway where they say Washington is wrong. He delivers lines so over dramatically, over the top. It's really not necessary. Halle Berry, look, she's not bad. You know, she's really just doing the best she can. I think out of the three, I'd say if I had to rank the three main actors on their performances and how well they did, Halle goes first, Samuel Tarly's next, and then it's Patrick Wilson. But as far as any of the extras or the extras in this movie, or, you know, everybody else who I've, you know, heard of before, I don't know where they found these actors at all. Look, I'm going to start with Halle Berry's husband in the movie, who plays her ex-military, or she's her ex-husband, but ex-military general guy. Look, they need to put him back in whatever CW recycle bin they found him from, because he reminds me of like a great value version of, you know, John Diggle from Arrow. And I really don't understand why, like, I don't understand where they found this guy from. I mean, I got to be honest. Look, his delivery is very dry. It's like he's not even really trying. He's literally just talking in a monotone voice like this. Hello, how are you? I'm answering the phone. I'm talking to you. Is this Halle Berry? I don't understand how we got divorced. My voice is so raspy, and I don't understand how you didn't get tired of listening to this. No, they did get divorced because he's a terrible actor, and I gotta be honest, every time they zoomed in on him, like, not zoomed in, but every time he had he was the only shot on the screen, it made me very uncomfortable to look at him, man, because his eyes were never open. He never opened his eyes. I didn't understand what that was, and he wasn't high, because I was in IMAX, so I did my best to see, you know, if his pupils were dilated or not. I was high. It didn't really help, but I'm glad I was high, or I probably would have walked out. Definitely probably would have walked out of that movie. Another prime example of just the bad casting that they did here was the kid that played his son, Patrick Wilson's son in the movie, who's supposed to be this rebel, all because, well, his dad, you know, is a deadbeat kind of sort of, and it just really doesn't do anything. But he loves him to death, and he just wants attention from his dad. So he's playing that rebel character who wants to get in trouble, and it's like watching him. It's like watching him rehearse the movie. It's like nobody told him, "Hey, we're live. We're recording this." It's like watching him just rehearse the movie. Like, I got sick of watching him even just say stuff. I really just wish he was like silent for the rest of the movie, if I'm being honest. Like, I think I got tired of him. I got tired of him maybe, like, in the beginning. He had one particular scene where he's in a court, you know, like he's doing a court hearing. I was honestly over him then. I had to watch him for the rest of the movie. I wasn't enjoying that at all. Like, this entire cast is just, I don't know where they found any of these people. Granted, they all worked very hard, and, you know, kudos to them. I hope, you know, their next movie goes a lot better than this one. But as far as it goes for this one, I don't ever want to see you guys again. Patrick Wilson, I want to see you in Conjuring movies. Halle Berry and Samuel Tarly, I want to see you guys again. Oh, like I said, Michael Pena and Donald Sutherland aren't a part of this at all. Don't wrap them into this. But the rest of this cast, they all need to go back to acting class. And look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I could do a better job. Actually, no. Halle Berry's husband, I could do a better job than him. I could definitely do that. I'm going to stand by that. I can definitely do a better job than that. But the other people, Do better, guys. Another problem I had with the movie was whoever was in charge of the score and the sound mixing. Look, I don't know if during the editing process they've like found out their dialogue was pretty bad, but I mean it's a disaster movie. You're not expecting like Aaron Sorkin-esque dialogue, but whoever was in charge of the score and the sound mixing, they were trying to drown out everybody who was talking, because at random moments during scenes that didn't even need it, the score would be so much louder than the people talking, and it made like scenes that it made it seem like this movie was so intense and we had to be locked in on this scene, but it really wasn't. It was just two guys talking in a hallway. I mean, there was one score that happened over a span of 4 different scenes. And at least for 2 of those scenes, there's intense talking and at NASA, they're trying to find out, what's going on and all that stuff. And yeah, the score could have been used for that. But by the time we got to the 4th scene, where it's just, Patrick Wilson and the judge talking in a hallway, at a courtroom, it's like I can't even hear what they're saying. This intense music is just drowning them out. Granted, they probably weren't saying much, but it's like that became a distraction, and it honestly happens multiple times throughout the movie. Like, it's like if you were at home watching this movie and you just had like the TV on, the only thing that we would be reminding you that you're still watching this movie is the score, because it's just going to get randomly loud at times. Like, it's not even, I just found that very distracting. Like, granted, I was in IMAX, so it was a lot louder probably than, a standard theater, but I think, no, the score in general, just like I said, it just drowns out people's talking, and it just becomes very distracting, and it just makes intense moments not that intense. Like, there's intense music playing and making it seem like, there's something's about to go down, but it's not. It's not. Moonfall. Now, all disaster movies have to follow this whole little cliche shtick thing that they do where, of course, aside from the main plot that's going on, they have to have little subplots that they do to fill in the runtime and just, make it seem like you enjoyed yourself and there's an actual movie here, but no, there's really nothing. They just fill in those little subcategories for you. The subplots in this movie were just god-awful. Look, like I said, I didn't enjoy the cast, so the characters were already people I just did not care about. And a minor spoiler warning here. I mean, this is just about one of the subplots, these robbers or these people who were look, I don't know why these people were so dedicated to rob, Wilson's family on Earth while, he's up in space. They're so dedicated to rob these people during the end of the world. It was like, the first time they showed up, okay, you're going to run into some people, some trouble's going to happen. By the 3rd time they showed up, I kept forgetting these people were even in the movie, and I honestly kept trying to remember, like, what happened to them. That's how forgettable this movie is. Like, you really just don't, I really just did not care about anybody or anything going on in this movie, because once I really got to the gist that this thing was that we were really not, I mean, we are fighting this thing in the moon, but it's not as intense as the trailer made it. Like I said, I only really paid that trailer mind once. And any other time it came on in the theater, I was on my phone. I really paid it no mind until it was time to go see this movie. So I guess it's probably all on me, It's probably on me that I'm hating on this so bad. But I just, like I said, I found nothing enjoyable about this movie. The subplots are garbage. I really don't care about anything that's going on in this movie. And there's also, like I said, his son. That's another subplot. He's a troubling kid. Pena plays the, like I said, he's divorced, so Michael Pena plays Patrick Wilson's competition, or the new stepdad, just like Ian Crawford did in San Andreas, which he actually played that jackass role pretty well. Pena played, like I said, I'm gonna talk about Pena in a second. I'm gonna give Pena my thoughts in just a second. But as far as the subplots go, I didn't enjoy anything about it. Like, I didn't enjoy the main plot either, but the reason I'm just pointing out the subplots is just because, like I said, I'm already trashing on this movie, and like, there's other, like, I really tried to find other elements in this movie to enjoy. I think, like, there was one very good shot of a wave coming through. There was also one very bad shot of a wave coming through, so I mean, that kind of just canceled itself out. There's just really not much to enjoy here, guys. But Moonfall. All right, so for my shout outs, I'm actually going to shout out Michael Pena and Donald Sutherland for doing everything they possibly could to not be in this movie that long. Look, then once I saw them on the casting list, I was like, either I'm really going to enjoy this movie or I'm going to have to drag them along with this movie. And I didn't have to do either. So I was very glad about that because I'm actually big fans of those guys. Shout out to them for not being in this movie too long, more than they needed to be. Look, Donald Sutherland only gets like one scene. Pena maybe gets 4 or 5. And honestly, I was just very glad that they didn't have to suffer this long throughout this movie because the runtime, this movie's probably like 25. This movie's probably like 25 minutes too long. So shout out to you guys for just dodging this entire dumpster fire. Thank you so much. Look, overall, guys, I'm not really the biggest disaster movie guy. Like I said, I've seen this formula a million times, and it's like I already know where we're going to end up by the end. So for me, I really couldn't find any enjoyment out of this movie. And the lines were just very over-dramatized. The acting was just very over-dramatic. The score was drowning out the talking at times. It gave me a plot I really didn't care about. They left on a cliffhanger, trying to make people care about a sequel. They even, put in a pop song at the end that I was actually, thoroughly jamming to. But it's like Justin Timberlake says in Friends with Benefits. They only put that in to trick you into thinking you had a good time. Except he was talking about romantic comedies. I'm talking about Moonfall. Moonfall. So for my score of the movie, I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Look, I'm giving it 1.5 because they tried. And like I said, my expectations were already very low, so the bar never moved. So, I mean, look, you made a movie. I give you a star for that. Sometimes I do give less than that. Like for movies like The Grudge, which I gave half a star. And I honestly regret doing that because that movie's terrible. The Grudge 2020 with John Cho. That movie is just terrible. Moonfall is better, though. So, I mean, if you've seen The Grudge, maybe, you'll get something from Moonfall being better. But like, if you like disaster movies, I'm not really going to recommend you go see this. This is my review. If disaster movies are your thing, go check it out for yourself. Of course, formulate your own opinions. Don't listen to everything on me. I'm not recommending this movie at all. You literally go do anything else with your time. Go see Spider-Man. Go see Scream. Death on the Nile comes out this week. Go see Marry Me. Just wait for a better movie to come in theaters because this one definitely ain't it. It definitely ain't it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Look, Moonfall, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, don't let me be the negative Nancy in this situation. Just because I didn't enjoy something doesn't mean you can't. Movies are formulated by everybody's opinion, and that's the beauty in movies. Like I said, I enjoy going to the movies, so I enjoy having bad experiences like this. Like I know that sounds weird, but I just love movies. I love being in the movie theater. I had a whole IMAX theater to myself. Granted, it's because I was watching Moonfall, but I mean, you don't get too many opportunities like that to have a whole IMAX theater to yourself. So I found some enjoyment out of that. Like I said, I was high, so yeah, thank goodness, because Moonfall. But be sure to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for watching. More content coming your way soon. Thank you so much.